Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Chris Petri. Thanks so much for coming by to my YouTube channel. We're here doing watercolors 24/7. We're doing everything watercolor. Doesn't matter, whatever subject matter you like to paint, whether it's figure work, landscapes, seascapes, cityscapes, still life, flowers. We have it all here. You just keep coming back week after week. And I always mention, please subscribe right over there on the right-hand side below. On the right below this screen here, if you hit the subscribe button, you'll be alerted each time we have a new video coming out, and this way you can watch, you can see what we're doing here, you can learn the techniques, the methods, and even if you're just watching, you're going to learn a lot. And then if you find that next week we do another video that might be more your style, where you like to paint maybe a flower painting or seascape or a landscape, maybe it's not figure painting, but even this figure painting right here, we're going to cover all the same methods and techniques that you will need to do your next painting, which might be something like flowers or landscapes or seascapes. So always remember that. I always cover the basic techniques and methods each week. Whatever painting I'm doing, you're going to learn the same methods and techniques to put them to work for you on your next painting. So stick with us here week after week. And again, if you subscribe below and you hit that subscribe button and you hit the notification bell, you'll always be notified each week when we create our new paintings and our new videos here on our channel. So we're always making new videos every week, so you'll always be alerted each week as we go. So glad you're coming by. Thanks. And also great shout out. Thank you so much for everyone that leaves the great comments, the encouragement, the really beautiful comments. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Keeps me encouraged, excited to keep coming back and making more videos. So I'm here for you. That's why I do these videos, is to create paintings and cover all of my techniques and methods that I use, that I've learned over the many years now painting watercolors, so that you might learn from them and take whatever you like, use them, whatever techniques and methods and things that you like from the way I paint, you just incorporate them into your style. But if you don't like certain things, then you just don't do them, so that's fine. So you pick and choose. It's almost like a menu. You're choosing if you're going to a place and you're going to sit down and have a dinner or a lunch or a breakfast, and you look at the menu and you say, I'm going to have this and this and this. Same thing with my videos. Pick and choose what you like that I do. And if there's other things you don't like, that's fine too. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do everything I do, but pick and choose what you think works for you best, and you'll have good success with your watercolors. So this is my painting. I'll move this away. We'll zoom in a little bit here. This is my golf painting. And we'll get started in just a second, but this is the painting. Okay? We'll see you in just a few minutes and we'll get started. Okay, so we just saw the finished painting, and now we're going to get right into the process of how we're going to create this gorgeous, interesting scene here of a golfer. It's a figure painting. We're doing figure paintings here. I'm glad you're all coming by. Thanks so much for coming by. Always I say, please leave your comments, your questions in the comment section as we go. If you have anything that you want to comment on, or if questions you might have as we go through this video, if you leave comments in the comment section, I can always answer your questions as we go. That's the best way you can contact me as we go forward. So let's get right into it here. And this is we're going to do a golfer here. So this is a gentleman. He's golfing. We can see here he just took a beautiful swing at the ball, and now his club's up straight in the air. He's just finished his swing. Kind of that moment he looks out into the yonder and he says, where's my ball going? Hope it's going close to that hole. So this is an interesting painting, right? This will be a fun figure painting to do because it's got a lot of intrigue involved in this here. You can kind of see in the picture here, we're zoomed in, he's kind of looking like, all right, where's it going? Actually the ball's in the air right now, and he's watching it. His eyesight, he's looking out. Let's see if we can capture all of that in this painting. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to just give it our best shot here. We can see the expression on his face. We'll zoom in even more. But we can see that in this painting. It's exciting. He's just, maybe it was a tee shot, or maybe, those of you that are interested in golf, some of you play golf, I'm sure. He's just taking his swing and he's watching the ball fly through the air, and we can see he's looking and watching, and he's kind of got that questioning look on his face, where the ball's going. Hopefully it's close to the hole. He's going to be getting a beautiful shot in here. So let's create this fun painting here, this figure painting. So we'll zoom back out again. I'm working from my phone, as you can see. So this is my phone here, my iPhone. I'm going to work from this. We're going to work with some acetate, as we've learned from the past. Working with acetate or plastic can really help your figure painting. You can kind of get down some basic lines, hash marks as to your figure, how you're going to create it, and then you can transpose that onto your paper, and then you draw your full figure through once you have your painting in front of you or your drawing. Here I'm hoping you'll work for my finished painting or you'll work for my finished drawing. That's up to you. As you go through this video, you'll see the process, so follow our process right along. That's what we always say here on my channel. Just watch it full through one time, my video. You'll see all the processes, all the methods of our figure painting here in watercolor. We're going to draw a pencil drawing first. We're going to draw this scene here. We're going to draw this figure, and we'll see how it goes. So here we have our figure again, the golfer. So what we're going to do is we'll just remove this for 1 second. We'll take this is a piece of acetate. It's called Duralar. It's actually Mylar, is another name for it. Mylar, M-Y-L-A-R. Mylar, M-Y-L-A-R. The brand, if you want to look it up online to purchase it, you just type in Duralar, D-U-R-A-L-A-R, Duralar. And you can purchase it, or you can find any plastic around the house if you don't want to bother looking all this stuff and this information up. And you could use probably plastic from packaging from the store, from the supermarket, whatever. That works. I've used that too myself when I've run out of a Duralar. Sometimes I might have to improvise, get creative. We're artists here, right? So I'll take a little bit of nail polish remover. We'll remove with nail polish remover our last project we did. So that's all. And then we just here you can see I have a little bit on the paper. Don't worry about that. We'll just forget about that as we go. This type of stuff happens in watercolor. If you have an issue where you spill some paint or whatever, I should really use this here, a piece of paper. While I'm doing my video here, I should be really careful not to make marks on my paper, but we'll continue on here. So we'll just clean off the rest of this here. More nail polish remover, and there we go. We'll clean off the rest of this. So we'll get a nice clean bit of plastic here. It's just a small square piece of plastic that'll go over the top of my phone. I'll clean off the other side. There we go. Okay. And just ignore this spot over here, whatever happened there. I'm not going to redo the whole thing now. So this is our plastic. We'll take our phone, we'll put our phone back on here. Then we'll take our plastic, put it over the phone with the tape, like so. Tape, a little bit of painter's tape, artist tape. Your whatever tape you use to tape around your watercolor paper. You just use that a little bit there to hold it steady. Then we'll get our Sharpie. So here we have our Sharpie, and we're just going to go around the figure here and just sort of get the general shape and idea of things here. So let's go around like this. The hat, the head, the shoulder, the arm, the hand. So we have a hand here, a hand below. This is really crucial. If you can just get a few of these hash marks around your paper or onto your paper by using this plastic, you really save yourself a lot of aggravation in the drawing process, because drawing is tough for everybody, Any artist, whether they're professional artists that have been painting 25, 30 years, will be honest and tell you that drawing is never easy. Drawing takes years and years of practice, relentless practice to get really good at. Unless you're just, maybe you have a real gift for drawing. Some people do maybe have a gift for drawing, I don't know. But I found that the more I practiced, the better I got. So the more you draw, the better you get. But in the meantime, don't be afraid to take a little bit of plastic, Mylar, Duralar, acetate, or whatever you can find around the house, plastic, with a Sharpie, and just get yourself some lines down so that you're not agonizing over how you're going to figure out how to get this figure done. We're doing painting here. You're the artist. You understand. Your object is to create the artwork. So however you get to the artwork and getting it, the finished product done, it's fine. Whatever you got to do. So here, we're just getting down some basic, very simple lines. Here's the golf club up in the air, straight up in the air, pretty much. A little bit not quite straight, maybe a little bit on an angle. And then we'll take this film off. I'm going to set my phone across from me, like so. And then I'm going to take my figure that I've sketched a little bit on the plastic, just the general idea of shape of things. And we'll put it onto the paper. And then I think the first thing I'm going to do is we'll zoom out a little bit so we'll get the full picture of our rectangle. So let's get our rectangle here. Let me try to be very careful here to make sure you can see my rectangle. That's where I taped around my paper. I'm using Fabriano Artistico paper, rough paper, extra white. Fabriano extra white Artistico, rough paper. There we go. Now, when I place this plastic on the paper, I'm saying to myself, where am I going to place this? Well, let's do a quick hash mark here, or two. Let's use our ruler. So I'm going to look over here and say, what size is our rectangle? Our rectangle is about 7 inches wide. So half of 7 inches, 3.5. So that's the halfway point. Then we'll go this way and say, where's the halfway point for 7 inches? We're a square. We're working within a square right now. So our painting or our rectangle, our working area is a 7 by 7, 7 inch by 7 inch. So half of 7 is 3.5 inches. You can work it out and do it by millimeters, however you use measurements. We're just getting a general idea. Okay, so we have our center points. Here, center, and then here, center point. Now let's set up our figure a little bit lower. Let's keep our figure lower to the bottom of our rectangle or our square. See, if he's too high, he's going to look like he's floating. That might be a good look. It's up to you. You're the artist. You can decide, do you want your figure to make your painting feel like he's floating? Or are you thinking, I want my figure to look like he's anchored down onto the ground here steadily, securely. So I think that looks better. And then now this is the center point here, the C, right there's the center point. We're going to go maybe a little off center. Now I did have that issue with the mark on the paper. Somehow that got a little bit, so maybe I'll go this side of the center line. So I'll make his left side of his body on this center line here. So I'm not going exactly center, I'm going a little bit left of center, like that. And I want to anchor him down like this. And always remember, you can put a mat around your painting once you're done, and you can crop your painting and trim it down So you can always adjust later. If you have extra paper around the outer perimeters of your painting, you can trim it down and put a mat over it and a frame over it later. You can always trim and make it more interesting by trimming down different sizes around the outside borders of your painting. So never feel like you're stuck. You could always leave it in the center, and then later on you can trim your painting down to make it more pleasing, the composition, let's say. But we'll start off trying to do it correctly. Let's do it from the beginning. This figure is going to be a touch off center to the left and anchored down on the bottom of the painting versus floating around up here somewhere like this, floating around. We want them anchored down here, and we want to leave some space under here, under his feet, and that should be good. Okay, then once we have that, we put our tape down a little more securely here. And then before we start drawing, let's take a break. And then even before we take a break, I just want to mention, thank you so much for coming by. Thanks for the great comments. Thanks for coming by every week, every month, every year. There's many of you that have been following me for many, many years. Thank you so much. The reason I'm here is I want to help everyone create better paintings, and I'm also practicing at the same time, so I'm going to be creating better paintings too. So I'm getting practice by doing my videos here, and you're getting practice too because you're following along and working along with me. And some of you are probably better than me now because you're practicing more than I am. But in any case, I'm sure many of you are doing fantastic. Many of you are just really crushing it and really doing a beautiful job. And I think all of you are really making progress, and that's the main thing. That's why everyone's coming by every month, every week, every day, and year after year. We're all making progress together. So before we start our sketch, our drawing, we'll take a quick break. And again, if you don't mind, please subscribe. The red, it's subscribe. Right below on the right-hand side, you'll see the word subscribe. It's usually in red. Subscribe. If you hit subscribe, hey, you'll get our notifications every week that we're making 1 or 2 or 3 new videos, and then you can watch them quick, watch them full through. You'll be learning as you watch, and then if you want to tackle it and do the painting, fine. You've already watched it one time. Now when you're going through the second time, you're learning even twice, 3 times the amount of information because you've watched it once. You're kind of like, it's prepped, your mind's prepped, and now when you're watching it the second time and you're working along with us, it'll be much easier. So always remember, the more you're watching the videos, the more you're going to absorb, you're going to grasp, you're going to learn, and your paintings are going to be better, your drawings and your paintings. So again, if you subscribe and you hit the notification bells, the bells too, there's a little bell sign with the subscribe button. That just lets you know exactly when the video comes out, so you won't miss it. But if you just subscribe, you're covered too. You'll get the video. It'll alert your YouTube channel that our new video is coming out just, at the time that it is arriving into your YouTube channel that you have set up. So you're following along on YouTube. You'll always get the notifications if you hit subscribe. And that'll be fantastic. You'll be working along with us. We're all having fun together. Main thing is have fun with your watercolors. We're having fun. We got everything here, all focused and concentrated right here. We're doing our figure work. We've got our paints all set up, ready to go. We're going to draw next. We're going to draw our figure, our golfer. Exciting golfing scene here. And then once we're done with our drawing, we'll start painting in some beautiful colors and get this completed. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's not a tremendously long video. We'll get it done pretty quick, and you'll have a lot of fun. So stick with us here, and I'll be right back. We'll start with the drawing in just a second. I need to take a break, relax a few minutes, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back again. Thanks so much for watching. We're following along here. We're doing our gorgeous painting. We're doing a golfer. This is a scene that's just really, golfing is fun. Do you watch golf? I watch golf on Sunday sometimes. It's a lot of fun. I've learned a lot about it. I've been maybe watching golf about 10 years now. Before that, I didn't know anything about it really. But once I started watching it, it was really interesting. And I learned all about the game, what a par is, what a bogey is, what a hole-in-one is, all these different things. So it was a lot of fun to learn as I went year after year after year. So now 10 years later, I'm familiar with golf pretty much. I can watch a really fun match on a Sunday all day and just enjoy it, have some dinner, some lunch, watch all the great golfers out there now and just watch them play and kind of follow along. And it's fun because I can I know the basics of it, the basic rules and the way the point system works and everything like that. So anyway, okay, so I'm getting into some details, but let's zoom in here. I want to zoom in on the figure a little bit more. Let's zoom in. Okay, that might be good. Let's look a little closer here. Okay, so again, we have our plastic. We use this. We put this over the top of our picture on our iPhone. I have a phone. I always work from my phone to do artwork. Why not? There's tons of information. It's like a library in my palm here. So I have a library right here. My cell phone is a library, actually. I could look up millions of pictures of golfers if I wanted to. I could probably look up, millions of pictures if I needed to. They're all here. So I looked up one and found this one. Looks great. Okay, I'm going to use this one. And the only thing I think that I did with my phone was I made sure I turned my phone settings on so that I made sure that my picture and my screen stays on all the time. So if you have issues with that where your phone might keep shutting off, you have to call somebody in your family that has a phone that's really good with electronics and phones and computers, and they'll guide you on how to keep your screen on all the time. Or you can even YouTube that too. YouTube's a great resource, right? Does that make sense? YouTube's a great resource. You could type in on YouTube how to keep your phone screen on all the time. That's all you have to type in, and it'll probably give you 100 different videos on how you can keep your screen lit and on all the time, and that's all you have to do. So if that's completed and you're good, your phone's on the whole time, you're great. Then you just, like you did with us, like we did here, we put this on here. We did our outline with our Sharpie marker. So we just did a quick outline over the top of our figure here with our Sharpie so that we can get a basic outline of our drawing, and then we're just going to put it onto the paper, set it down with some artist tape, painter's tape, set our iPhone across from us with the screen on full time all the time, and then let's start to draw this. So let's lift this up and start by just lifting up the plastic just to the top where the top of the hat is, and we'll get a line for the top of the hat. Let's get a line for the golf club, like so. Good. This is how simple it is, and then you just follow along. We get the shape of the face, the head, and then the shoulder here, the shoulder and the arm, the right arm. Okay, like that. You got to try to keep it as still as you can and straight as possible, so you don't want to move it all around this way, this way. Try to keep it nice and straight, even. Just lift it straight back like so. Almost like a rolling motion. You're just rolling it back and not letting it move side to side. Hold it down with your finger if you have to, like that, so it doesn't move too much. That's all. And then we just get the arm here, the right arm, like so. Then the hand is up here. That's a little bit too far. There we go. That's the hand there. And then the other hand here. We'll do more fine-tune touch-ups as we go. We'll just want to get the basic places everything is at. Okay. Okay. Now, his right leg going straight down. Curves down a little bit, like so. Okay, good. We're already down here. Now we can just slide our hand down this way more and then hold it down here, lift it up and say, okay, his leg's going this way a little. Perfect. His foot over here. Doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you're getting it pretty close, you're okay. And then this way over here, and then his pants on the right hand side go over this way. His pants are up high. His But his belt's pretty tight, I'm sure. He's got his tightened his belt there. And then he's got the crease of his pants where his belt buckle, the center of his belt buckle is there. And then we have a line come down like so. And we'll make a little line there. And as you can see, we're pretty good. We've got okay. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, we're just adding the rest of his body here. His left arm is over here. Left hand, right hand. I'll erase this over here. Then we can fine tune it. Okay, here, like I said, we're not like going, overboard with details and getting really carried away too much with fine details. We just want to get the figure in. Maybe a little bit of shadow there, like so. Okay, now we're going to just do some distant hills here. And this is the golfing area, the greens, the fairways, and then we're just going to go with what we saw in the picture. So there's some trees in the distance here. Just very lightly, don't do too much detail. So there's some trees over here, just like that. We kind of captured what we saw, like that. And there's a little more hill. There's some, like, maybe some gullies and a little bit of nuances to the greens and the fairways here wherever we're working. Maybe this is the tee area where they tee off, and but we just have some variation here, and this is pretty good. We have his pants here, his feet, his shoes. And we're gonna let's do a little more detail to his clothing, just so we kind of have some things to work with here. So he's got a crease in his pants here, and there's a little more shadow on this side of his pants here. So if you can look at his right leg, there's some shadows on the left side of his right leg here. So let's make sure we capture that. And then there's the seam for his pants here, and his his left leg and his right leg and his left leg. And the rest here, there's some dark shadows over here. But I think that's pretty good. We don't need too much detail. Let's make sure we capture his nose under his hat in light. And let's see a little more here. I'm doing very fine nuanced lines just to show where the shadows are. So let's make that shadow there, his ear, So we're going to do his ear. This is dark over here. He might be wearing some glasses. And then his mouth is kind of, his jaw is dropped open a little bit, so I'm making his mouth open a little bit, a little dark. A really dark here for his mouth being open, looking. He's looking up. His head's a little tilted up a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. He looks like he's looking up a little bit there. There we go. Okay, this is fine. Now that you have this pencil drawing done, it looks good. Always remember, when you're on my channel, you'll always hear me say this over and over and over and over again. Your pencil drawing is never going to look that great. It's when you go in and start painting, it's going to look so much better. So never worry about sitting there and erasing and trying to draw this over and erasing and then trying to draw that over and erasing. Just go for it the first time. Get the first drawing down, get it done, the first sketch, the first pencil drawing, get that done and just leave it, and then come back and take a break and then come back and start painting. Whatever, trust me, your pencil drawings won't look as good until you start painting it. So sort of like just get those pencil lines down, your drawing down. It might look funny, it might look a little bit off, doesn't matter. It's going to look that way. Even the best of best drawings are going to look a little bit funny looking. You need to start filling in the colors and the shadows and the shapes of the colors and everything. And then that's when it really starts to take shape and look really good. So don't worry about your pencil drawing too much. That's what I'm saying. Forgive me. But that's the most important thing, is don't get carried away with your drawing. Get the pencil drawing down halfway decent and let it be. And then once you start painting everything, you can adjust things with your paint and your watercolors, and you'll see that you can shape things and direct things with your paint and your water as you go. You'll find out. Keep practicing. But in the meantime, let's take a break. Got to take breaks. So our pencil drawing's done here. You with me? Our pencil drawing's done. We're good. We'll come back. We'll start painting, and you'll see how it'll take a much better look and feel once we start getting that paint and water on the paper. So you'll see. We'll come right back. We'll just take a quick break. Again, breaks are good. Helps us with our concentration level. Helps us to see things that we might not, if we're just working, we might not see things that are going the wrong way, so on and so forth. So if you take breaks, you'll be able to catch things, direct things a little better, and let's do that. So let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll start painting. Okay? All right. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, we're back again. We just took a quick break. No worries, we're having fun here. We're doing a beautiful figure here. We're doing a fun, interesting golfer. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit here so we can get the paint palette in view. That looks pretty good. Okay, we're going to start painting. I'm going to get my number 4 Da Vinci travel brush. It's got the plastic handle. You can open up the handle like this and then store your brush if you're going to go out on the weekends, or if you're traveling, or if you maybe are visiting some relatives, or you go out to the park, whenever you're painting outdoors, or maybe outside by your home or a park, wherever it is. If you have these travel brushes, they're really handy. You can just take them apart, put them back together again. They have little holes in them, so you can just if you put them back together again when they're wet, if the brush is wet after you're done painting, and then you put it back together and then close it up, it's got the air hole in here, so your brush will dry, so you won't get any mold on your brush, hairs. Fantastic brushes. These are the Da Vinci Pure Kolinsky. I also use my Charles Reed Escada travel brushes too as well, and these are fantastic. These are a little more straightforward and simple. You just pull them apart and put them together like so. These work great too. I use these all the time. My Charles Reed travel brushes by Escoda. You just put them together like this. They're nice and light. They really have beautiful hair. These are natural hair, Kolinsky natural hair brush. Beautiful points on these. So between the Da Vinci travel brushes or the Charles Reed brushes by Escoda, these two travel brushes are fantastic if you go out to paint outdoors and travel, or if you go on vacation and so forth. They're really great to have. So we'll continue on here and start painting our figure. This is our golfer figure. So let's do a simple kind of, we'll put our colors out on our palette first. So our flesh tones are going to be cadmium red with a little bit of yellow ochre, like so. So we'll get our flesh tones out onto the palette. And again, I always suggest, if you have either a sponge next to your water pail, or a tissue in your hand, or tissues or paper towels near your water bucket, whenever you rinse off your brush, you just quick tap it on some of the tissues or sponge, just to take a little water off your brush, so that you're not flooding your palette and your paints here in your working area with your watercolors with too much water. And a little bit of burnt sienna too. And then, so I always do that, rinse off the brush, tap a little bit of water off on a tissue or my apron or a sponge. Very, very critical to get this look we're going to get here. So we got our flesh tones for our figure with a little bit of cerulean blue as a cool color for the shadows. So we want to mix in a little cool for the shadows, for the flesh tones. And I think that should be good. So let's start out. Let's get our flesh tones in. So we can see that overall we'll have our flesh tone there on our hands. And then here, our other hand. And that's really it. And you can work that flesh tone up into the hat a little bit. Let's go right in with the darks for the hat. French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna. So we're mixing like a really dark with a mixture of cools and warms. So you have French ultramarine blue, which is your darkest dark for your blues. Maybe some purple too, which is really, really dark as well. So you could add some purple to that. French ultramarine blue, ultramarine violet, which is purple, burnt umber, and then burnt sienna. So you mix all those three together to get a really nice dark, and then you can start doing your cap here for our golfer. He has his golf cap on. And then it gets a little lighter at the top, so we'll let that go. If you have some light areas that are lighter, do your darks first. We're working in the alla prima method. And those of you who have followed me for a long time now, for many years, you'll hear me talk about alla prima method or glazing technique. So if we're doing alla prima painting, we're basically painting as we go. At the same time, everything we're just painting as we go. Glazing technique is more or less we're taking light washes first and covering the whole paper, and then going over with darks. Here we're using the alla prima method, just real simply, just so everyone's up to speed. So now we're just painting our figure. We got our flesh tones in for our face and our hands, and now we're doing some dark shadows for the cap. And so we're just pretty much painting alla prima, painting all at one time, at the same time. Doing our darks most often when we're painting alla prima, we're painting our darks first. Does that make sense? So if you kind of remember it, like glazing technique is really, you're doing your lights first, and you're just covering your whole paper with lights, light washes, really light washes, lots of water. Then you let that dry 100%, and then you go over with your darker darks. Alla prima is sort of the opposite. Alla prima painting is basically you're going in and you're just doing your darks first, and you're not really doing any kind of like coats of paint over and over and over. You're just doing everything at one time. So that's what we're doing here. We're doing the Alla Prima method, getting our darkest darks in, shadow of the cap, there we go. Since we're going to do some shadowing on the figure, let's do some of the darkest darks over here, like so. Let's take some of these darks over here and then add some flesh tone, burnt sienna, darks, and then a little bit of burnt sienna, and that'll give us our darks for the hands. So let's get our hands with the darks. And as you can see, I'm just doing some darks here under the hands, where the shadows are on the hands. The thumb over here. Not too much though. If you can try to keep the details to a minimum, doing a couple of the lines for the fingers, but that should be good. Then we're going to go in darker darks. We're going to put his mouth in. His mouth is open saying, wow, where's that ball going? And then more darks here. So we can put in the darks. This is kind of dry right now. We're working with the, so I'm going to put in the eye sockets. Blend that up with the top of the cap. There we go. If you have to dab off a little bit of paint, no problem. I'll take my some tissue, and blot up a little bit of paint. Let's let that dry 100%, because now we're starting to realize that for us to get a more pleasing detail on the head, in the face of this head, we're going to have to let it dry. So let that dry 100%. So right now we're leaving the area of the face and the hands and not touching it anymore for the next 15-20 minutes. We're going to start working the other darks, and that would be the greens. So let's get in here and do some greens. Let's do some yellow ochre. We're going to do some viridian green. We're going to do some sap green. We're going to do some burnt umber, some French ultramarine blue, some darks, dark greens, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, and then we go in sap green, olive green. Okay, so we have plenty of beautiful greens mixed out here on the palette. Let's start in with some darks. There's some really good darks over his shoulder. Let's do that. That. And so I'm splashing a little bit. And right now we're doing what's called negative shade painting. You've heard that? Hey, if you're a pro, here, you know, and you've heard that term all the time, right? Negative shade painting. We always hear that as, you know, for painting a long time, 10, 15, 20 years in watercolor, you've heard that term, you know, thousands of times. Negative shade painting, negative shade painting. What is negative shade painting? It's simply you're painting around some subject matter. It could be any subject matter. It could be a piece of fruit, a golfer, it could be a mountain, it could be a cloud, it could be anything. The idea is negative shade painting is you're painting around the subject matter to make it appear and to make it part of the subject. So you're part of the subject matter that you're painting. If you paint around it, it appears. So here we go. We've just negative shape painted the figure. Hip, elbow, shoulder. Over here we're doing some of his right shoulder. And that's good. So we have some trees back here. We'll mix some more darks. Sap green, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, beautiful dark greens. And we paint negative shape paint around our figure. So we paint over his shoulder. Along his arm and his elbow, and then by his hip over here. Then we swing around. I turn my body. I'm actually turning my body to the right, so my right hip is against my working table right now, so that I can turn my arm really easy. So if I was facing, so if I'm working like this and I want to get more turn this way, I just turn my body. So I'm actually taking myself and swinging my body, my whole body around, and my right hip is resting against the table right now. And that's how I can get my arm and my wrist and my hand to turn a little better for this brush stroke here. There we go. Then here you can leave some white paper there and a little bit of some branches and things like that. And right away we've created more interesting three-dimensional subject matter here. You can kind of see now through the scene here, through the trees. We're leaving a little bit of that, you know, airspace. And there we go, a little more. Some splashing. I always like to add some water and splashing there, like that. And then here we got finger painting, a little bit of finger painting here. Add some yellow ochre. Add some gold, some yellow ochre to your trees. Give it some little bit of different variations to your. Leave some white paper there. I forgot to leave some white paper here. We can do a little couple branches here and there like that. Couple more lines like so. Couple splashes, add some splashes once in a while. Let's add some darks here. And I think we're really coming along here really nicely. Now let's start working in some, might as well just use the same colors for shadows. So let's just kind of make this a little lighter in the middle here, but use the same colors, like that. And then we're going to, maybe we'll do some shadowing. The shadows are pretty light on his pants here. There's some darker darks, so I'm just going to try to, there's some darks in there, but let's leave these. And where else are we seeing shadows? If they look too dark, you can lift up a little bit with a tissue. There's some really, really darks for the belt. Let's do his belt here, like so. Looks good. And some more shadows here. And some shadows under his arm here. There's some more shadows under his arm here. And then down here there's a little more shadow there, like so. Let things happen. Don't feel too tight where you got to control everything. Let some things happen. So I'm making a few more shadows, but less is more here. If you can kind of control going too much and adding too much, you're better off. So I'm making sure I get that really dark belt and a little bit of some warmer tones in that belt too. And then the shoes, let's get his boots. He's got some boots on, some golfing boots. Maybe in those days, this looks like an older photo, maybe from 60, 70 years ago. Or maybe, not that long ago, 50 years ago this is. Let's put his boots in. He's wearing his golfing boots. They look like work boots actually. And there we go. And then some darker darks, French ultramarine blue, purple, burnt umber, darker darks. And then here you have his other boot over here. This boot here is, there's some dark darks under his boot there, like that. So there's some shadowing under there, just a little bit of shadowing. You can kind of see I'm doing. And then this is about the time we start to think about taking a break. I want to try to not get too tired and fatigued and then start doing things that are not going to look so good. Okay, so that's his other heel of his other boot there. So you got the heel. So that's his right heel back here. This is his left foot here. His left boot is here. And I'm going to try to just add some darker darks here. Very carefully, maybe not every place, but kind of get that nice. We're kind of just trying to get those couple of lines here and there, but not too many. I think that's good enough. I don't want to do too much here. That's where, when you're looking at a photograph, always remember when you're looking at a photograph, try to not do everything you're seeing in the photograph. Try to do less than what you see, let's see, in the photograph. Is what I'm saying is sometimes less details is a little better. You can always add a few shadows, but if you go with less than what you're seeing, you're going to probably be better off. So I'm going to leave this as it is, like so. And he's got a little bit of shadow there. And then again, green, sap green, burnt umber, olive green, a little bit of cerulean blue. Chromium of oxide. Let's use a little bit of that. See what that does. A little bit of shadow in here. And again, I'm just getting in some washes here. They're medium tonal value washes. Some darker darks, purple, burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, green. If you don't like a wash, always take your tissue and just blot it up. So I'm just using all those medium tonal values, medium to dark. A little bit of splashing. I take my brush and I kind of splash to the left, like that. Brings some movement into the picture, into the painting. Then I drag across a little bit of the paint, like that. Maybe add a little bit of darker darks there. Make it look interesting, the whole painting. We don't want to just have details in one section of the painting. We want to try to keep the viewer looking at every part of our painting if we can. There we go. And then we just go across there like so. Nice and easy. And we leave some white paper too. Let's leave white paper here and there. Maybe some lemony yellow. That looks good. That lemony yellow makes it look warm and makes the painting look warm, like it's a hot sunny day. That cadmium lemon yellow. That's always a nice warm color. Add that into your paintings. And it makes it look warm and sunny. Like that. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. All right, we better take a break now. You can see how valuable breaks are. And again, too, I always remember, please remember, please subscribe. The button's right down there on the right-hand side of your screen. While you're watching this video, it's real simple. If you just hit that subscribe button, you'll always be getting my videos every week, every month, every year, year after year. And then as you're following along, your paintings are going to get better week after week, month after month, and year after year. I've been painting over 20 years now. And I guarantee you, if you just stick with our channel here, follow these processes, these same techniques, these same methods, your paintings are going to get much better. And I know that's why many of you come week after week and month after month and year after year here, is because you're getting results. And that's the main thing. You want results. You just don't want to follow a watercolor channel and you're not getting results in your paintings. You want to see your paintings always improving, even if it's just a little bit every week or every month. You want to be making progress. And all it is just using these same techniques, these same methods over and over, and your paintings will get better, absolutely, guaranteed. So let's take a break. We'll do some sky wash, and I think we'll be done. So look how quick we did this. We've completed this in like a half an hour, 45 minutes. We've created a whole beautiful painting of a wonderful golfer here. He's looking at his shot. He just took a shot. Maybe that's the tee shot, or maybe he's, in the rough and he's trying to get it up to the hole and he's thinking, wow, where's that thing going? So have fun with this, kind of make a story of it, have fun. You're with the golfer here along with him, you're excited for him, you're hoping he's going to get a really good shot here and maybe win the match. And we'll be right back. We'll finish up this painting, okay? All right. All right, everybody, Chris Petri here again. We're getting back started and we're finishing up this golf painting. Check this out. What a gorgeous painting we're doing here. We're having a wonderful time, a fun time. We're painting a golfer here. He's, taking his swing. You can kind of see he's looking. His mouth is open and he's saying, whoa, where's that ball going? Hopefully it's, headed right to the hole and we're going to get maybe a birdie or something, Hey, all you golf fans out there, I know you're really having a great time with this painting. I know many of you probably really follow golf and enjoy golf. I've been following it for maybe 10 years now. I kind of know a little bit more about the game and how to, the point system works and the rules a little bit more. I'm still learning about it, but it's really a lot of fun. So I hope maybe some of you might take a little bit of time and maybe watch a couple golf matches and see how fun it is to watch. Golf is a really fun sport. So here, our golfer, this is back, the photo that I have, we kind of looked at it in the beginning of the video. We'll see it here again. This is probably back in the 50s, or no, I'm sorry, the 60s, the early 60s to mid 60s. So back then the golf courses were pretty, you know, rough looking. Nowadays they're just manicured, you know, to perfection. It's like walking on a carpet in a living room, pretty much. They're just, the golf has really, they've perfected their sport always, you know, so they've never stopped perfecting what they do as far as the sport of golf goes. So here back in the 60s, you know, there was probably rocks and stuff on the course and dirt and stuff like that and whatever. The courses weren't as, you know, maintained as much as they are now. But in any case, I'm kind of thinking, let me try to make this a little more you know, exciting. Maybe the ground here, the fairway here that he's on. Maybe he's at the tee off section here. I don't know, but I'm thinking, let me add some let me add some of this chromium of oxide. What a great color. Chromium of oxide. Then let me add some sap green to it too. I just want to make it a little more exciting looking, a little better. The green here, I made it a little bit too rough looking. Even though that's the way the picture looks, let's make it a little more exciting and more like the real, or the courses are nowadays. Okay, so I added some of that chromium oxide paint and a little bit of sap green. Scrub around, have a good time. Look at me, I'm scrubbing around here. Look at that. Just, I'm taking some paint, getting some paint on there. Like that, maybe some cadmium lemon yellow. Let me add some of that to the figure too, in the shadows, just so we kind of tie everything together. So if I'm adding cadmium lemon yellow and chromium of oxide everywhere, let me add some of that into the figure too, into the shadows of the figure's clothes. There we go. Let me scrub around here like so. I'm just using my brush, scrubbing around. Maybe some into the trees too. Let me add some of that into the trees. I wouldn't do this if you're not really comfortable with it. You know, as an artist, do what's comfortable for you. If you see me doing things that you don't really feel comfortable with, don't do it. Just do what you feel comfortable with. And then I will take my tissue and maybe just do some lines across. So I'm just taking some paint off with my tissue, like so. Maybe that looks a little better. And if not, no big deal. Have fun with it. You're going to try another one right after this one. You'll try 2 or 3 of these. Try 2 or 3. 2 or 3 golf paintings with our golfer here, and have fun with it, and don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. Now, cerulean blue. What better skies do we have than cerulean blue with a little bit of Prussian blue? Scrub around. Water and cerulean blue, that's all you need. And if you have a tough time with sky washes and you get confused on how you're going to do your sky, type in Chris Petri, which is CHRIS space PETRI space sky washes, SKY space WASHES. Again, if you're kind of wondering, how am I going to do my sky? I haven't done skies before. If you're new, if you're just brand new to these videos and you haven't seen my channel before, and you're saying, well Chris, how am I going to do sky washes? Simple. Check it out. Go to, just type in to the YouTube search bar, Chris CHRIS, space, Petri, Petri, and then you type in sky, SKY, space, washes, WASHES. And I have a video specially for you. And then when you watch that video, I give you 9 different sky washes you can create in any of your watercolor paintings. And I show you how to do each one very simply, very straightforward. I show the techniques, how to do it, the methods. And you'll be you won't be worrying about how to do a sky wash for this painting. You'll try out maybe a couple different sky washes on this painting. Maybe you'll do this painting 2 or 3 times, and you'll use a different sky wash each time you do it. And you'll say, all right, I'm going to add some clouds to one of these skies. Maybe the next sky you do, you're not going to add any clouds. Here we're not using clouds. We're just I'm taking my cadmium orange and bringing it down here into the background where the trees are. Blot up a little bit of paint like that, and there we have it. Now the only thing left we have is maybe a couple more details on the figure. So we'll do that. I'll add a little bit of orange to the sky wash, just a touch, just so we kind of mix in a little bit of orange in that blue, cerulean blue, and some Prussian blue. Our sky wash, just simple, Prussian blue, cerulean blue. Just like that. Have fun with your skies. Don't make them too serious. Make them fun. Like that. If you got to blot up a little bit of paint, there you go. Okay. Now, if we really were getting silly, we would put a bow tie on this our golfer here, but golfers don't wear bow ties, of course. So I'm just thinking of something that might make things more interesting. Okay. Okay, we have our golfing figure here, maybe a little bit of yellow ochre in the cap here. Looks good. He's looking fine with his, and then maybe some, a little bit of eye sockets there. But again, less is more. If you can leave this really simple, better off. Don't get carried away. I'm just doing his ear over here. I think that's good. I wouldn't do too many details in the face. As long as you get that mouth with the open mouth, like looking like his mouth is open, saying, "Whoa, what's going on here?" I hope that's a good shot. I have that. The same thing again. If you look at this photograph, you can see that, right? Let's zoom in. See how his mouth is open, and he's like, "Oh, I wonder where that's going." Great shot, wow. So I'm trying to capture that with my figure there. You can see that. I've got that mouth open just a little bit. That's something you can really do. That's kind of simple. Making that dark, really super dark with the mouth open. And so, you know, it's just an added detail that you put into your paintings, those little tiny details here and there that really can make a painting more exciting and more interesting. So always remember that. Don't be afraid to add in some of those details that really might, you know, make that painting look more exciting and more thought-provoking for someone that's looking at it. So there we have it. Now the thing we have to do is let this dry. Again, let's take a break. Before we take a break, I say always, please subscribe. Right on the right-hand side here below the screen, below this picture in this video, there's a subscribe button. Please subscribe, because I don't want you to miss out. We're doing great videos. I'm doing great videos for you here week after week, month after month, and year after year. I want you to join along with us. Come here. You have all these great people here along with us painting every week and every month and every year continuously. And there's a lot of people getting better and better. Many of us are all getting better. You'll see all the comments in the comment section below. If you comment, please leave your comments. Say, yes, I'm improving. Things are going great. Or I have a question. I'm really stuck on this thing, this point. So whether you're always progressing, but sometimes you can have questions, leave the questions in the comments below. I'll answer your questions as best as I can. And we'll have all fun together, and we'll just keep getting better and better at our watercolors. So let's take a break, and again, subscribe if you haven't, so you'll always be notified when our new videos come out each week. And so when we take our break now, I'll come back and we'll finish this up. There's just a few things we have to do. Other than that, we're pretty much, this painting is complete, and we've had a lot of fun doing it, and I'm hoping you're going to continue to challenge yourself and try figures. Figures are fun, right? This is fun. This is great. This is simple. We showed you how to do it from start to finish, and now we're just going to finish up a couple details, and we're 100% good. So let's come right back in about 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll finish up this painting. All right, everybody, welcome back again. Hey, we're getting excited. We're finishing up this painting. That's the fun part, right? When you're kind of like down to those last few details, it's always more fun when you're kind of like almost to that point where the painting is finished and you just know you want to zone in on what is going to be just the right amount to finish up this painting, but still leave it like there's not, we're not going overboard with too many details. So that's the real fun thing about watercolors is, as you take breaks, and that's why I took a break. I took a break so that I can go relax, have a cup of coffee, sit down in my chair, relax for for 10, 15 minutes, take a load off my legs, and come back, and I'm here. I'm standing at my table now. So I get a little tired when I stand at my table here when I'm working here on YouTube when I'm making my videos. But it's always good. I like to stand here. My art table, it's very comfortable to stand. But when you stand a lot for long hours, you do definitely fatigue and your legs get tired and so forth. Your feet hurt. So I have that too. I get that myself. So I sit down for 10, 15 minutes and then I come back. So now when I've sat, I sat down in a chair, I had a little bit of coffee, I'm coming back, and now I'm really feeling good, and I'm saying, okay, what am I going to do now to finish up this painting where I'm not going to start just painting another 45 minutes and just overdo the details and it ruins the painting. No. Does that make sense? You're the artist. You have to control yourself, control your emotions, and say, when I come back to this painting, I just want to do the very, very last few bit of details and not get carried away and do too much to like over finish the painting. So that's what we're doing now. You can see I'm missing some things here. I'm missing the club. So he doesn't have his club. I mean, we can see his hands there. We did draw it in before when we first started, but I have to finish that. And then I'm looking here, there's some lights on his bottom of his boots here. Those don't look so good. Lights are really for the upper part of the figure here. The sunlight's coming from up above. And again, we always try to, with our discipline, we try to say the light's coming from above, like so. So we put our light insignia on the top. And since it's like maybe midday, like around noontime, I'll give or take a couple hours, the light's is from above and it's straight up overhead. There's no long shadows, so there's no long shadows here. Just the shadows are going to be very, very, small, minor. But that being said, there wouldn't be like bright highlights on the bottom of the soles of his boots. So I left some lights on the bottom of the boots here that shouldn't be there. So we're going to fix that. So we'll fix that problem right there. We can see that's a problem. And then any other problems we have or issues? No. I think I'm looking at this and saying it looks pretty good. The only thing I want to do is I want to make sure I get the club here. So we're going to put maybe a dark line for the club. Let's do that. And back in the 60s, their golf clubs were a lot longer, I'm pretty sure, because I'm looking at this picture, and that golf club looks huge. It looks like it's, 5 feet long or 6 feet long. So let's take our, well, you know what? I'm going to use a small ruler like this here, a half-size ruler, which I just broke in half. I just broke this ruler in half by making a little score line on it with a utility knife, and then I broke the ruler in half, so I have a half-size ruler which is comfortable to work with. Let's get the ruler here and let's make a very light pencil line so we make sure we get our golf club accurate. So let's do that. So I'm going to do this. Now as I look at the picture, I'm going to scale this. So let's take this we'll look at this here and say, all right, how large is this golf club above his body, so that we make ours correct to what his golf club would have been in that time that he was golfing. This is back in the 1960s, maybe 66, 65. Okay, so let's look at it. Okay, so let's take our pencil and say, okay, from his top of his head, which is the tip of the lead of the pencil, to his waist is right here, which I put the tip of my finger on, which is his waist. So from his waist to the top of his head is that much, from the tip of my finger to the top of the pencil. Now if I take this and I spin it around, or I just go up here like this and say, okay, from the top of his head, how far up of it? Okay. So it's about the length of his waist to the top of his head, above the top of his head. Right about there. Now the only difficult part here is making the shape of the club. We don't have in the photograph, there's no shape of the club. So we don't know how the shape of the club should actually look. And that's the problem that sometimes we have as artists. We draw something from a picture or from a magazine or from a photograph or from an art book or from whatever, and we say, all right, we're missing some information here, so how are we going to do this? So the best thing I think we can do is, one, when we paint this painting, we just make it straight line with no head of the golf club, and then we crop the picture down and make the picture smaller so that it looks like the photograph with no head of the club. You can see there's no head of the club there. Or we can pretend that we kind of know that we could maybe make something that looks okay. The only problem with that is someone that plays golf, or someone that plays golf all the time or watches golf all the time, if we make a shape on here that doesn't look correct, they're going to notice it right away. They're going to go, that doesn't look right. So that's the thing with artwork. If you're trying to get it accurate, you almost need to look something up and see. So let's do that. Let's go on our phones and let's take a look and see if we can look up something else. Let's look up golfers here. Let's see. So we're doing a little something different that we don't normally do. I'm going to zoom in to my phone here. I'm going to look up golfing, so I'm going to look up search. And let's look up golf swings. So I looked up golf swings. Now I click on images and we see what we have. Let's see if we can find something that looks similar to the picture we have. This is really difficult. This is really difficult. This is what you have to do. You have to look stuff up, go through your phone, look at the photographs, and find a photograph that looks almost similar or identical to the photograph we're looking at, and see if we can see how the golf club looks. I think we will find it. Bear with me here now. You're seeing this is the grit of watercolor painting. You have to look and try to find and search out things if it's missing in your photograph or your subject matter, and then all of a sudden you run into an issue where you say, I have to put a golf club head on the top of my golf club here, but I don't know how it's supposed to look. That's when you have to start researching and just try to at least make an attempt to try to find something that looks the same. So we want to look at a golfer that's got his club straight up in the noon position with his golf club. Let's see if we can find something. Let's see, can we find anything? So far we are not doing great with finding what we need, but we will probably find it. There we go. That's what we're looking for, right? That's pretty close to what we're looking for, right there. Oh. See that? That's what we're looking for. That's pretty much sort of where he's at with his swing. Club should be over here on the right, like this. There we go. So persistence pays off, everybody. Right? Persistence pays off. So whenever you have an issue when you're painting watercolor and you're drawing and painting and you run into an issue where you kind of like find out that in the middle of your painting or toward the end of your painting or even in the beginning of your painting, if you have some information missing, just look it up online and see if you can find something similar to what you're trying to accomplish on your painting to get the result you need. So, you know, if it's a house you're painting or a seascape or a landscape or some kind of angles on a building you're trying to paint, whatever it is, always remember you can go online and look and try to see if you can find something, search it out. So we did. We searched it out. It took us a few minutes, but we did find it. There we go. There we go. There it is. There's the club. Pretty much the same body position, looking at us, looking forward at us, facing us, the golfer, and there's his club. It's up in the air and it's got a little bit of the actual head of the club is to the right, like this. So we're good. Let's finish this painting up. Okay, let's do our club head. Burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. Just a dark is good. It doesn't have to be too dark. We don't want to get carried away with too much here. So let's just do that. Let's get a nice dark in there. Perfect. Now, if you have a hard time with straight lines, you can use a ruler and then put your paintbrush alongside the ruler and do a line like that. If you do what I do, you just take your hand, rest it on the paper, and just do a little bit of lines here and there. One line there, do another line there. So you just do dashes. Do some dashes there. There you go. Do some dashed lines, and that's all you need. And then you can always dab up a little bit of paint off there too. Lighten it up. Perfect. Look at that. Okay, we said we were going to fix the shadows with the boots. Burnt umber, burnt sienna, ultramarine violet, a little bit of burnt sienna. There you go. There we go. A little bit of shadowing. I'm going to lift that up and just put a little more darks there. I would try to diminish the the feet. Okay, I'm going to go back and zoom out. Okay, now that I look here, we can kind of see I lost a little bit of my lights here on the pants. Perfect time we grab our titanium white in our tube. Titanium white, we mix in a little bit of yellow ochre. And I just added some titanium white with yellow ochre mixed in there, just a touch of yellow ochre to give it some warm looking white. And there we go. We have, there was a little bit of light on the bottom of his boot. So we'll leave that like so. That might look good, maybe not. Blot it up with a tissue if you don't like it. And that's really pretty good there. And maybe a little bit of light on this side here of okay, and we just added a little bit of paint for the eye sockets, and I think we need a little bit of shadowing under the chin here. Just a little bit of shadowing under the chin, and I think that's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more shadows on the ear. Again, we don't want to go too much detail with this type of a figure because it's, yeah, that's good. We don't want to go too much with details on that. That looks pretty good. All right, I hope everyone's had fun here. We've worked and worked, but we haven't overworked. That's the main thing. We have not overworked this painting. We've worked it till it's really perfect. Just the right amount of details where it looks good, but you can kind of see it's still kind of loose, and there's not too much detail where we went, you know, overboard, where, you know, it looks overly worked and labored over. So there we go. We take off our tape. And again, in the beginning of the video, you'll see that I'll put the finished painting on in the beginning of the video, centered right on the camera, so you'll be able to work from the finished painting if you want to. Best thing is probably, you know, as I always say, you watch the full, you watch the whole video full through, then you go back and you take your time and you work through it slowly, and you hit pause as you go to complete the painting, step by step. So, you know, you'll watch the first part up until the sketch is complete, and then you sketch from my sketch. Then you work, and from there you'll complete the washes. As we did the washes here, alla prima. With the alla prima method, I explained that in the beginning of the video. Alla prima method's a great way to paint. And I hope you enjoyed this. Come back. We have much more videos coming over the next weeks, months, and years. Stick with us here. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to grow. Your paintings are going to get better. And again, leave comments. Let me know how you're doing. Questions. Let me know if you got anything that's kind of bugging you that you need to fix with your watercolors. Whatever it is, don't be ashamed. We have lots of great people on our channel that put in questions all the time with questions that they have on how to do something, what brush to use, how to do a certain wash, all those type of things. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Leave comments. I'll answer your questions as best I can. And also, people will also help you out too. There's other people in our channel here that will answer questions as well if I can't get to them, or they might have other great ideas that they're working on that they'll be able to show you or guide you in the right way. So we're all having fun here, getting better at watercolors. We'll see you on the next video, okay?